Our story begins at Melbourne's first amusement park, the Cremorne Gardens, which opened in 1853 on the banks of the Yarra. A paddle steamer, crowded with pleasure seekers, could often be spotted meandering its way down the river from Princes Bridge to Richmond. Based on the English concept of a pleasure garden, Cremorne played host to all manner of adult entertainments, including concerts, fireworks displays, and even tightrope walkers. An elaborate rotunda housed an orchestra and open-air dance floor. Another entertainment on offer was the menagerie, which was a collection of wild, often exotic animals kept for display. They were a precursor to the modern zoological gardens, which became the zoos we are familiar with today. Menageries demonstrate our eternal fascination with the animal kingdom and gave people the unique opportunity to lay eyes on animals never before seen in Australia. At its largest, the Cremorne Menagerie included an orangutan, a bear, camels, elephants, and even lion cubs. In 1863, the owner, George Coppin, experienced financial difficulties and was forced to close the Cremorne Gardens. And it is at an auction that we first hear of Wallace the lion. The Melbourne Leader reported that the menagerie attracted many more spectators than buyers, and tigers and monkeys seemed but in poor demand. The only animals disposed of were Wallace, the African lion, and his lady, which were secured by the proprietor of the city buffet for the sum of £100. Possibly this is Wallace and his mate, Wallace being known for his distinctive black mane. Wallace's new home was the City Buffet, a cafe and hotel on Bourke Street, later called the Palace Hotel. It was run by a man called William Stutt and stood out from its counterparts by virtue of its urban zoo, located in an outdoor courtyard. The Age reported, "For a few weeks past, the City Buffet has had on view the largest captive lion and lioness in the world. The lion, which is of the black-maned African species, is about 10 feet long in the body and about 4 feet high. His great stature and fine mane gave him a most noble appearance." In 1866, several papers reported on a curious court case. The plaintiff was Peter Peterson, who on a visit to the City Buffet Hotel had ventured beyond the protective fence, stuck his hand in Wallace's cage, and attempted to stroke him. Peterson walked away from the encounter with one less finger and a severely lacerated hand. He proceeded to sue the cafe owner for damages inflicted by what he called the fierce and mischievous lion. The matter was brought before the court, and the jury, acknowledging that Peterson's injury was due to his own willful stupidity, found in favour of the defendant, and Wallace was exonerated. William Stutt evidently came to the realisation that a cafe was no place for a lion, and hearing that the Acclimatisation Society was keen to expand their zoological collection, he eventually sold Wallace and his mate to the Melbourne Zoo. Melbourne Zoo is Australia's oldest zoo. Its founding organisation, the Zoological Society of Victoria, formed in 1857 and established a small collection of animals housed in temporary enclosures at the Royal Botanic Gardens. In 1862, a permanent home opened at the Royal Park site we know today. Initially, the zoo was important for the acclimatisation of domestic animals newly arrived to Australia, It was only with the appointment of Albert Lassouf as zoo director that more exotic animals were actively procured for display, and the gardens and recreational areas were developed. By the 1880s, the zoo was firmly established as a popular pastime. On Sundays, entrance was free, and the place was so crowded with eager visitors that police had to provide crowd control. Sideshows, musical performances, and opportunities to get up close and personal with the animals were all part of the experience. Wallace and his mate had finally found a place to call home. The pair were likely the first lions to be exhibited at the zoo, and for many years were the leading characters in the collection. Wallace was said to be particularly famous for his love of classical gramophone music. It is said that he listened attentively, with a dreamy, far-off look in his eyes. In 1887, the lioness died of natural causes, and so affectionate was her husband Wallace that he fretted greatly and succumbed the following year to join her. The pair were said to have been together 20 years. Quite an extraordinary love story.